What do you do when the weather is poor, thunderstorms and lightning, and you can't go outside? Sometimes there's nothing better than an impromptu writing session. It's stormy outside, the weather's bad, there's lightning, there's thunder, but sometimes the adverse weather conditions can give you so much inspiration because you're cozy indoors, you're cuddled up indoors, and it's nice and dry. And sometimes this is the perfect time to write because this is where you get the most profound ideas. I thought I'd have an impromptu writing session today. Now, it's going to be very impromptu because I do have to go in to teach in a few hours, so I don't want to waste, be too late. And also because of the adverse weather conditions, these are actual thunderstorms going on outside. I do know that in terms of traffic and weather, and flooding, it's going to be pretty bad outside, so I want to allow extra time to get into work. However, I've been working on some short stories, which I do believe are going quite well. I've been working on some short stories that might be for a book, a series of books, I'm not quite sure, but they're short stories, probably about 6,000 words each, but I might make them even smaller and reduce the word count. But I am very excited because this is what happens when you have spur of the moment writing. So that one is called The Unseen Visitors. Now the name isn't great, I must admit, but I did start it literally about 25 minutes ago, and I just started writing when the weather began and the thunder and lightning began. My dogs do not like the really bad weather, especially the younger dog. He doesn't like the thunder and lightning because he doesn't really understand what's going on. My older dog doesn't really care. She's bomb-proof, but this is what I did. This is what I managed to write in just about 20 minutes. And then I think that was a further 10 minutes, but this is what you can get down when you just decide to be impulsive. So I know we like to plot sometimes, but sometimes being impulsive can help you as a writer an awful lot. So I have The Unseen Visitor, or The Unseen Visitors, and The Mysterious Signal. Now these are just supposed to be short novella type stories, nothing too heavy, nothing too complex. They're not going to be like full books like my actual books. These are 80 to 90,000 word books, but these are not going to be like that. These are just nice, fun short stories with a bit of a hook and a bit of drama, probably some fantasy. But because they're quite short, when something is quite short, I prefer it to be a bit scary or a bit of a thriller or leave you in a bit of suspense as well. So that's what I've done this morning so far. I'm just going to carry on and write some more until it's time to go to work. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where I last left off. So I think this is part of another short story. So I've written 3 short stories. Interesting. Okay, that's 1A1. Oh dear. Continues. Emma returns home and places the pocket watch on her dressing table. Okay. Yeah. And this is what happens when you have a busy brain. So I believe I finished that one. That's done. So what have I done here? The letter writer. The letter written by Mr. Thurston in his final days shows a steep decline in the state of mind. He sees things and hears so much. His colleagues. Now, when I say impromptu, I just refer to grabbing a pen and paper. I like to start with a blank document and a clear mind. I don't stress about the topic too much. I usually pick a word, an idea, or even a random sentence that just pops into my head. For me, it's all about the initial spark, and once I have that, I just go with it. I begin by writing out whatever comes to mind, anything. The key here is not to judge or overthink what I'm writing. I just let the words flow naturally, almost like a stream. I find that this approach often leads to unexpected ideas, as well as interesting twists that I wouldn't have planned if I were sitting there plotting. And when I plot, I find I tend to overanalyze every sentence and every scene, and I do believe I kill quite a few ideas that could have been quite good. Now, as I'm writing, I try to maintain a rhythm. If I hit a wall or I start to overthink, I try to push through by asking simple questions. Just what happens next? And how will this character naturally react to this other character, or naturally react to the scene or what's happening around them? I try to keep it as natural as possible and as, I don't know if this is the right term, human-like as possible. This keeps the momentum going, and I just keep going, and I don't tend to get very stuck when I'm having an impromptu session. I think one thing people tend to forget is impromptu writing isn't about perfection. It's about really capturing the authentic, is that the right word? Authentic, unfiltered ideas as they come through, rather than overthinking them and getting rid of them as they come in. So I don't worry about grammar, spelling. Sometimes my spelling is absolutely atrocious. And I don't even think about the structure. I just word dump, because I know I can always go back and clean it all up later. Now, after about 15 to 20 minutes, I usually have a decent chunk of writing. So that's when I step back and I review what I've written. I don't tend to do that immediately all the time. I tend to leave it for a few days, a few weeks, sometimes a few months, and then come back to it. And I'll identify any ideas that stand out or a theme. This tends to give me a sense of direction for the next round of writing or revision. I also decide, is it a good story? Is it worth proceeding with? Or can it be dumped? Or perhaps does it need to be improved upon? Usually, and I'll say in 99.9% of cases, I can actually proceed with the story. So I don't know what that means, but I think it does mean that impromptu writing sessions does unleash your creativity and gives you some profound ideas. Sometimes I'll find out that what I've written is a complete story. Other times, it's probably the beginning of something bigger, usually a book or a longer series. Either way, impromptu writing is an amazing way to kickstart creativity and get your ideas flowing. I would like to point out at this point that my idea for my Heathens series started off with an impromptu writing session where I just sat down and I began writing. I didn't have much of a plan. I think on that day in particular I was a bit bored and I was waiting for someone. And I just got some paper out and I started writing. And it's become a series, and it's become quite an interesting series and quite a powerful one as well that's liked by many readers. So that's pretty much the writing process. It's very spontaneous, it's very messy, but ultimately it's extremely rewarding. And if you haven't tried writing in this manner before, I would say give it a go. It might be a preferred writing method, and you might be surprised by what you come up with. Thank you for joining me this morning for an impromptu writing session, but this is just a message to go with the flow. If you have time and you're feeling spontaneous and you're feeling impulsive and you have maybe half an hour, just get your pen, get your paper, get your laptop, open it up, and you might have some amazing ideas. I've just written down some really good work, very untidy work, but very good work nonetheless. So this is just a message to lean into your spontaneity and be more impulsive with your writing. All right, speak to you later. Bye.